Welcome back to Montana Garage for part 3 of fancifying my firewall. Before we go any further, there's something I just want to get out of the way. Your TV didn't turn off, your phone battery didn't die. This is just me trying to figure out how to edit a dang YouTube video. Hopefully I'll get it figured out eventually. If you watched the last video, you know at about the 14-minute mark, the screen went black for way too long. I did fix it, but if you watched it and stopped watching at that point, please go back. There is some good stuff at the end. All right, we're back, and hopefully we can avoid any more editing faux pas. Yeah, I got a new GoPro recently, and I don't know if that's what it is, but my GoPro and my editing software that I have on my computer don't seem to get along very well. I just use a free version of, I think it's called Filmora. Yeah, I don't know. It's really glitchy when I download the media. It's super glitchy and makes it really hard to edit. And somehow I missed a big space or threw in a big space, and I didn't realize it was there. So hopefully we can avoid that. If any of you real YouTubers have any advice on what I should be using or tips and tricks on editing, that for me seems to be the hardest parts of all this so far. Throw them down in the comments there. I appreciate the help. The other thing I want to say is that this episode was filmed entirely or almost entirely before the DD Speed Shop 57 win. You know, obviously this little brief opening, and then I'll have something at the very end. So I hope you enjoy what we're doing to the 55, and then stick around to the very end, and then we'll talk about the DD Speed Shop 57 just a little bit more. All right, that's enough talking about smoothing out this firewall. Let's spark up the welder and get it done. I got the Lincoln welder all fired up, and we're ready to start melting some metal. You can see I got a few of these holes buzzed in last time when I got started before I almost burned this place down. I showed that in part 1 of this video series if you want to go check that out if you haven't seen it. But we got a few more holes to fill in still, and then make a little patch for here. I did determine, I wasn't sure about some of the holes, I did determine these holes can all go away. They're just part of this firewall pad. My wife thought in part 1 I said firewall pad so many times we should have turned it into a drinking game, so hopefully I can avoid that this time. But we're gonna get fired up and get started. All right, we got all the holes buzzed in, at least all the ones we're gonna buzz in. So what's left is, got some wiring that comes out here, hood hinges, steering column obviously. I'm still going to make a patch right there. Master cylinder, wiring. I decided to leave the hole for the original throttle linkage. I may or may not use that, but if I decide not to use it, I can patch them in later or just run some bolts in there, and then there'll be a cable and a grommet there. But if I do want to use it, at least it's still available. I don't want to not be able to get the car going because I got to set up some sort of throttle if that's going to work. Let's see. Over here we still got hood hinges, heater motor mounts there. heater hoses, and those two holes are where the heater box mounts through from the other side. I got everything else burned in. We have to obviously grind them off now. It looks like I missed a little hole there, maybe a little bit there, so I'll check them all out, make sure I don't have to do any more welding, then we'll break out the grinder. All right, I like to hit these welds with a little die grinder and flush them out a little bit, and then I'll hit them with the angle grinder on 40 and 80 grit and smooth them out, try to blend them in. Safety, your hearing protection. Got my little readers on for eye protection. I need better eye protection, but it'll work for now. There we have it. That one's still got a little tiny pinhole there, or just a little, it's not really a hole, just a little flaw. I might buzz it, might just hit it with some filler. This one turned out pretty good, so we're gonna do that to all these other, I counted them, there's 41 welds, or 41 holes I buzzed shut. So we'll set you up on fast motion and we'll go to town on that. Okay, progress report. All the holes are welded shut and all the welds are ground off. for the most part, I'd say they turned out pretty darn good. I think there's two, maybe three, two for sure. One right there and one down there that I didn't get welded good enough. So we'll have to break the welder out. Maybe this one too. That's just a little bit of paint, I think, but there's still a little divot there. So throw a little weld in there maybe and grind them back off. And then all that will be taken care of. And then we're on to patching in this hole. I have to do a little bit more research. I'm pretty sure I just need to leave the circle, but before I fill it in, I want to make darn sure. I'm going to use either an I Did It or Flaming River type aftermarket steering column. So I'll just do a quick little check and see, check for some installation instructions or something for one of those and make sure that the circle is all I need. And then we'll come back out hopefully tomorrow and start making a little patch for that bad boy. That's where we're going to leave it for tonight, though. Getting late. All right, we're back out in the Montana garage. It is not tomorrow. Best laid plans, right? I don't know, spent yesterday doing other stuff, but I'm back today, and we are going to tackle patching this hole. Well, because I have all the good luck all the time, it seems like. I started out with trying to buzz in these three little spots that had some little pinholes. And as soon as I got started with that, I ran out of welding wire. So before we can really get rolling, we have to change the wire in the welding machine. Luckily, I knew I was getting low, so I got another roll. So we'll get that going. Okay, welder's all put back together. Let's make this patch. Here's what I'm going to try first. I threw some blue tape on here and I just pushed on the edge so I can kind of see it. It looks like when I peel it off, I can still kind of see where that was at. So let's see if this is going to work. I have to go to plan B if it doesn't. Pretty good. I can still see that pattern on there, so I'll stick this tape back down on a piece of sheet metal and then trace it out. All right, peel this back off of here. Let's save that in case I screw up the cut. We can do her again, which, there's a good chance. I like to screw stuff up. Nah, this shouldn't be too hard. All right, we'll zip that out of there somehow and see how we did. All right, time for a little update on Operation Build the Firewall Patch. So here's what we got. Transferred my pattern from that blue tape to this piece of metal. And then I got it pretty close to fitting. This hole here has like a kind of a rounded edge, so I got it fitting so it's kind of just below the rounded piece, and there's one little kind of little tit or whatever right there, so I had to shape the patch a little bit, but I think it's fitting in there pretty good. So once I weld it, it'll all be flat. And then to try to make the circle, here's the tool I used, End of my soda cup was about the right size, so that'll get me close. I'll trim that, leave a little bit of, leave the line or so, and then we'll see how it fits. Go from there. Well, here's what we came up with for that firewall patch where the steering column goes. It's my little piece that I made that I think is going to work out all right. Fills the hole pretty good. My circle, it might not be perfect, but it's pretty darn good. Pretty darn close to good anyways. So we'll get that, I'll hold her up there with a magnet or two, and we'll break the old welder back out and make some sparks. All right, so again, here's our patch panel we made. Let's get her welded in. Fits pretty good, I think. Just below the crease everywhere. So we got her tacked in place pretty good. I think it's gonna work out. I'll set you up on fast motion. We'll get the rest of this thing burned in. Alright, so we got her welded in. That was a bit of a shit show. I ran out of, or no, I didn't run out of wire. I already did that earlier, but my welder, the wire quit feeding, and what happened was on the new spool, it was kind of tying itself up in there. And then also I didn't realize my new wire that I just loaded is 030, and before I had 025. And so it was a little tight running out of the tip, which I had kind of scraped out earlier, so it was still going through there, but I had to put a new tip on, and that's when I realized I had the wrong tip. And then once I got her back going again, I had a hard time getting her set where I wanted it. But anyways, I think it turned out all right. Just a bunch of little tack welds running around there. I'll break out the grinders and smooth that out. Also, hey, lesson learned here. So I just got done welding. I actually did have a little bit of fire on the inside while I was welding, because there's some sort of freaking silicone or something where that firewall pad was. So before I go any further, I'm just taking a peek in here, making sure we're not on fire. Yeah, you can see some of that goopy, gluey looking crap there. Was kind of catching fire when I was welding, but I kept kind of putting it out because I could see it. But yeah, it was a bunch of this stuff. That's kind of what was filling that hole earlier. Anyhow, just being safe, making sure there's no fire. welding the patch in. I think it turned out pretty good. So we got the hole for the steering column. It's not, the weld isn't perfect. I mean, I didn't blend it in perfectly. It's a little bit low all the way around there, the way that metal was beveled in, but it's, you know, we'll throw a little filler on there and nobody will ever know that there was a hole there, hopefully. That's the theory anyways. On to the next task. Okay, I'm back out in the Montana garage to take care of that next task we were talking about, and that's gonna be doing some filler work on the firewall. We're gonna throw a little filler on the weld seams, in the spots where we plug the holes, and a few other miscellaneous spots where we got some little dents and dings, and we're not gonna go crazy, but we're gonna try to make it, you know, a little better than it is. I'm gonna stop this video here though, and then we'll do the filler work in part 3. Come on back. So there you have it. The 55 firewall here is ready for a little bit of filler work. I just wanted to pop in here at the end of this video and say thanks one more time to all the new subscribers, everybody that's watching the channel. I said, you know, I did this in the last video, but again, it's grown leaps and bounds just from the time I posted the last video till now. And I'm just amazed and super thankful. So I appreciate everybody watching and commenting. Everybody's had some, not everybody, but most people are, you know, had some great comments, super nice things to say. There are some haters, you know, out there, but I guess that's part of it and it's going to be expected. And, you know, to those of you guys that are in that category, you know, please just keep watching and maybe I can turn things around for you. But last video had north of 15,000 views. I'm at almost 3,000 subscribers and there was over 600 comments. I do my best to reply to all those comments. So I guess if there were 600, maybe that's only 300 from you guys, but that's still 295 more than I thought I'd ever see on one of my videos. So thanks again. So like I said, I try to reply to all the comments. So if you do have a comment or a question, put it in there and I'll do my best to get back to you. Maybe you want to know like what's coming up next on the 55. What are we doing with this frame? Maybe you want to know more about this badass 57 Chevy over here. Any of that stuff you want to know, put her in the comments. I'll do my best to answer it. Maybe if there's enough interest, I'll even do one of them YouTube live things that the real YouTubers are doing, and we can answer some questions that way. So if that's something you want to see, let me know, and I'll try to figure it out. A lot of those questions, of course, concern the DD Speed Shop 57 Chevy. People want to know when I'm going to go get it, how I'm going to go get it, am I going to drive it back, am I going to film it? And a lot of that stuff's still up in the air. Like I said before, the border's closed. That makes things a little difficult. And of course, it's winter. I'm in Montana, Dan's in Manitoba, so we have real winter up here. So that could make driving a 57 Chevy back 10 to 13 hours, depending on where I can go get it. That might make that a little difficult. Maybe we'll get lucky and we can pick a good weekend and that can happen. But I really just don't know yet exactly what's going to happen. One thing I do know for sure, no matter what we do or when we do it, I will film it because I want to share it with you guys. So all you got to do is stay tuned right here to the Montana Garage and you'll find out.